Hi guys, hi everyone. Welcome to the channel again. On this particular drive, I'm going to be heading to the airport. It's 110 kilo, and it's supposed to last me for about an hour, and then of course 14 minutes. That's what the projected schedule is based on navigation. I hope that I can also share a couple of the experience with the car on another long trip. As usual, we're looking for maximum disengagement, which means that anytime we don't feel comfortable, we will disengage. And right about here, I'm going to engage the car to get into self-driving mode. The animation shows that it is pretty much activated. It is slowing down drastically for no reason. Hopefully it will activate because the traffic light is already at amber. I didn't want to sort of push it, but now we've got NGP which has kicked in. So when I activated the self-driving, what happened was that the car was still in LCC mode. It came to almost a grinding halt. You saw that the speed just decreased so drastically. Then of course NGP kicked in, and then we were back up. So now we are at the traffic light. The interface shows exactly what's happening around. So you see that red symbol, which means that we intend to go forward. And of course, that red arrow indicates that we pretty much are at the traffic light, and the traffic light is red. And since our direction of movement is forward, we've got the arrow that basically points forward, lit in red. So again, as usual, I like to talk less, just provide ad-lib where there are observations as to the behavior of the car, either, great or perhaps not too great. I'll just pretty much provide a quick sort of conversations to sort of highlight the experience from my point of view at this particular point in time with the version XOS 5.5.0. So this was the version of the software that we got before the Chinese national holiday for the Chinese New Year, which was late January. And I've been using it. I've shared a couple of videos already about the experience of the car, of the software in this particular car. This is an SUV, and so the dynamics of the car and the behavior of the self-driving capability might not necessarily be the same as other cars, particularly looking at the fleet of Xpeng as we speak. One of the key things that is also going to affect the driving dynamics is the fact that the car is pretty much having so that setting jolt there was not exactly a pleasing experience. I almost disengaged because the car wasn't sure where exactly to go, and this is where we need to go. So again, a disengagement over there because the perception was not good. It didn't detect the right path to choose, and this is the path that we want to actually go. So I had to disengage. The first disengagement right out of the bat. One of the things that would also be important to take note of is that night perception is not as good as day perception, which is typically normal. Even human beings will not see exactly too clearly. I'm using glasses, so that tells you, perception is subject to a lot of other conditions. One of the key conditions, of course, is whether the area is well lit or not. So the poor perception that happened over there can be attributed to, again, bad lighting. It is something that one can argue against. That it's got nothing to do with that. That was just poor perception, because a human being, if you took a picture of the road at that particular point in time with that particular lighting conditions, you should be able to plan. So this is not a perception problem, or it could be a perception problem, but attributed to the way it is indeed interpreting what it has pretty much perceived. So again, pretty much a jarring move there. So I'll disengage and then re-engage after the um, electric toll gate. Right, so I will be activating the system right about here again. And you'll see the animation show if it's successful. It isn't successful. I'm trying to activate, but it's not successful. Okay, now it's successful. And it is going to sort of struggle a little bit to wait for NGP to kick in, because LCC is currently the mode that's in now. And you can see that lit over there. With NGP activate, you would actually see the NGP symbol here on the screen. So currently, as we speak, the path planning is all based on lane centering, which is to detect the lane ahead of you, put the car in the middle, and then drive ahead. Okay, so now NGP has been activated. The symbol is changed, and pretty much you can see that. And with that now, the car is now able to effectively drive a bit more to meet the traffic conditions. So again, here is a situation where we are going to be driving a whole 110 kilometers. Now it's about 108. And hopefully we will not have many more disengagements so far, because we've had 2 already right out of my parking spot. And so I hope it's worth it for you guys. So enjoy. So the time is about 7:58 p.m. And of course, if it's going to take us an hour and about 9 minutes, that's going to mean that we intend to arrive at our destination at around 9:08 p.m. And I'm heading towards the airport. So once more, this is another drive to the airport that I hope that you can compare with the previous versions of XOS. And so if you actually go through my videos, you would see the a specific video that I had, a couple of them, where I did the same drive to the airport, a long journey. And then, of course, you can compare the version. I think it was a version 4 series of XOS, and now this is version 5. So you could basically do a comparison as to to understand exactly, or to sort of see how the progression with regards to the improvement in the software has gone. You would also see a difference in the interface in the previous versions compared to the current version, a significant bump up in the improvement with the experience in the interface, as well as also the layout in the interface. So that's something that you should basically look out for. And hopefully you get to see how things are moving with Xpeng with regards to their stride in trying to improve both the software, the capability of the car self-driving, as well as also the experience using the UI, or the user interface, for to interact with the car. So again, just a pointer to give you guys a bit of a basis to compare the experience, doing the same route, in the previous version of the XOS, which was the XOS 4.x series version, and then of course comparing that to the XOS 5.5 series. Once more, for lots of folks that are coming to the channel for the first time to sort of experience the Xpeng solution, just for me to give you a quick introduction of the user interface, and also to give you some hints as to indicate when I'm driving and when I'm not driving. So this current situation we're in now, I'm not driving. The car is effectively driving on its own. And how to know that from the user interface point of view is that you actually see the thick blue line, which is called the predicted path of travel for the car. Okay, so when the car is basically able to predict what's ahead of it, and then of course what path it needs to fly, it will basically highlight the blue line. When it needs to overtake, it will highlight the lane that it wants to change to. and then signal that it wants to basically change lane to that. And it's doing all that autonomously all by itself. And so that's basically indicating that, again, the car is driving. If I disengage, for instance, if I disengage now, which is basically me driving the car as I speak now, you see that there is no highlight of a blue line on the screen. Although you see my car, basically the representation, the digital twin of the car on the screen or on the UI, there is no path planning by the car for the car, right? So you don't see any thick blue line. I'm changing lane myself now. You see that blue line only indicating that I want to change lane to that, but I'm pretty much handling all that movement as we speak. So I'm changing the lane again to my right. It highlights that, signals, and then of course I'm signaling to do that change. I'm signaling to do the change again to the right lane, and all that. I'm taking care of that. But if I need to pretty much have the car take care of it, you basically see a difference in the blue line. And then of course when I'm driving, the blue line when I am pretty much navigating is such that it's only when I signal it shows the lane I want to change to. But the actual path planning with regards to the short blue line in front of the car to show that the car is actually doing the planning itself, and of course, planning the route itself, it's not exactly what you see now. So now when I engage it, which is the situation now, you actually see the animation kick in, and of course you see that blue line, which is uniquely different actually on the car's path, showcasing exactly the predicted path to fly on, and then of course the car's trajectory, so to speak. So again, that's just to give you a quick introduction as to what exactly is happening here. Again, when I do activate it, you will see the text NGP in progress. And what that means is navigation guided pilot is in progress. I can switch from navigation guided pilot to LCC. And LCC is basically lane centering control, which means that the car would pretty much just stick to the lane. It will not do any sort of maneuvering, which is called L2, according to the autonomous driving levels of what you call capability. So now the car is signaling that it wants to make a lane change. You see both the blue line that is showing its path as well as the lane that it wants to change to on the screen. And as a result of that, you pretty much know, if you're watching this video, that it's actually the car doing the driving itself. The other point that I wanted to indicate is at the top here, you see the global symbol for, pretty much autopilot or self-driving there, which is the first symbol you see. The second symbol is the car's limited speed, or the limit the car is itself going to max out at when it's driving with regards to speed. And then the third one is the actual road speed limit. So the road speed limit we're on now is 120. And the car has also set its own speed limit also to 120. And why that is important is that I can decide to step the car's limit down, or I can decide to exceed the car's speed limit. Okay, in other words, I would like to exceed the speed limit of the road we are on. So for instance, now I'll try to bump up the speed to 125 by just using the scroll wheel to dial up the speed. And so now the car is set to be able to max out at 125, which is 5 kilometers per hour above the road limit. But again, that's not something that I would like to do. So I'll just bump it down to 120 just so that it can max out at the road's limit. And so that's, again, to give you an indication of that. The numbering, which is basically the speedometer reading, is what you see in there. So the car's current speed is 106 kilometers per hour. So you pretty much can observe exactly how the speed of the car matches the experience from a user point of view. And so some videos, what folks do is that they try to speed up the video to seem as though the car is pretty fluent or fluid on the road. That's exactly not the case. in my videos, I try to, almost all the time, to play at the normal speed at which I'm recording, which is basically 24 frames per second on my DJI Osmo camera. So with that, you pretty much can get a sense as to the actual experience on the road and the actual behavior that you receive as a user. And of course, that symbol, that signal that came through is to pretty much indicate that the car doesn't think, or the car is expecting me to be engaged. So it wants me to do a light touch of the steering wheel, which I do, and I will do from time to time. And when I do that, it pretty much senses that I'm still engaged. In other words, I'm attentive, but it doesn't mean that I'm taking over the car, right? So if my hands are on the steering this way, it doesn't mean I'm driving. I'm just trying to keep the inertia that the car is looking for, or the system is looking for, to test my engaged state. All right, I'd like to just keep that active. In other words, not to be bothered by that chime. Sometimes I can keep my hands off, but again, in this particular case, we've been driving for almost 11 minutes since my last disengagement, and the car didn't chime. So effectively, for about averaging 11 to 15 minutes, the car can pretty much drive without, pretty much sort of bothering you to keep us engaged. And that's because of the fact that there is a higher level of confidence in the planning and trajectory. And as a result of that, the car feels that, okay, you are engaged, I'm confident about the road, and therefore I can definitely, take on the road without any sort of problem. But it's again, there's an important caution here that you need to pretty much be attentive all the time and be ready to take over at any point in time, because again, and I think one of my subscribers already, one of the viewers of the channel already indicated, even though the car is behaving as an L4, this is actually not an L4 because it's not certified as an L4 car. It's only certified as an L2 class car. And I think I spoke about that in my previous video as well. So it's important for folks to understand that as an L2 car and as an L2 class car, I need to be the one engaged in driving all the time. Okay, so this particular feature is only to augment my driving, but not the other way around, so to speak. So again, that's a bit about the the UI there. Over there is where I can tell the car to change its behavior as to how it overtakes. The standard mode for overtake means that it can pretty much overtake left, right at any point in time, but obey still the road markings. So where a road marking is a continuous straight line or a continuous line, the car will not cross it. But if it's a broken line and the car in front is pretty much impeding the speed, it will try to overtake. And then I can also change it to conservative, okay? Or you pretty much consider it like it should only overtake when it's really necessary. It should not basically do any sort of maneuvering on the road, like overtaking left and right and all that. So that's pretty much the setting over there, conservative or normal, and I prefer to use standard or normal setting. And then of course that is pretty much a percentage that you can pretty much set by which the car can effectively be able to increase the speed. So if I intend to increase the speed 10% over the speed limit on this road, which 10% is the max you can, then effectively I'm saying that the car can pretty much bump up in speed to over 120. Okay, 10% of that is 12, so 120 plus 12 is just about 130 kilometers per hour. So the car effectively, give or take, right? So the car effectively can max out 130, which is 10% over the speed limit. And also from a regulatory point of view, that is allowed. So from the road regulations, you cannot go 10% in excess of the speed limit that's been set on that road. So that same sort of condition has sort of been applied logically by way of setup to the car. And you can effectively also do that sort of configuration to let the car observe that kind of behavior as well. And so that's that. The last button is called the valet route, and that If you watch my previous videos, I've talked about ballet route where we are able to record a frequently applied route. And once we have applied that route once or twice, the car effectively records that journey and keeps it for you to play back later on. And the playback basically means that the car effectively will execute that route without you having to be bothered or having to effectively do the getting out of the parking and then of course embarking on that particular journey. So if you watch a couple of my videos, I think I've highlighted a couple of the interesting things about this particular feature. Sometimes it's a bit gimmicky, but the key point is that the feature is improving consistently, and as a result of that, we just hope that it keeps getting better so that becomes pretty much useful. So again, that's that's a bit of the the screen real estate on the left, and then on the right you've got the actual map, and of course with the map layout, it's pretty much the traditional what you expect of the map. Although the map provider for this particular car is AutoNavi. AutoNavi has been doing some pretty good work with what they actually provide by way of feature and augmentation and assistance to map users or the app users, right? For instance, I can basically switch to this 3D sort of perspective view, which is pretty neat, right? It shows exactly the mapped route for, also for self-driving cars. So all the green lanes indicates all the possible lanes the car can effectively engage. It pretty much shows that. And you also get a 3D perspective, which, it's sort of nice to have. It's not exactly useful if you want to do, route planning and road planning, because you don't see a large sort of map area to allow you to, know whether you like to do a detour or maybe you like to pretty much make a stop at a particular location or not. That you don't see. Hopefully, maybe in the future, they might be able to optimize the UI, even in this particular mode, which they call the lane mode, to be able to, do that sort of planning. So in most cases, I like to use the what they call the line mode, right? And in the line mode, you actually see the normal the planning of the path for a wider area and a longer distance. And with that, also, you can pretty much be able to do a sort of a replanning of your route, which is pretty good if you're a driver or you're the pilot of the car, and so to speak. That pretty much also is a little sort of information dialog, which can be activated to determine maybe actions that you like to perform. So that information dialog is highlighting my next rest stop. So the next rest stop is 27 kilometers ahead. And in that rest stop, there are a couple of information that it also provides you. For instance, I can do charging, I can use the bathroom, and I can also do normal parking. As a result of that, that's sort of information that is useful. And with that, I can pretty much set up a waypoint with that particular rest stop by just selecting that and saying that, okay, add that to my waypoint. And with that, the car would effectively, when we're getting close, would navigate to the exit in order that I can engage, or indeed I can pretty much go to that rest stop. So that's a neat feature that's also been added. I asked for this feature a couple of times back. It never came, and effectively in the 5.5 version, I saw that now the feature is active and one can do that, which is brilliant add-on because, again, as I keep saying, while the car is doing all that, you as a driver want to be able to maintain the full management of what it does, full control over the car. And so I just don't want a car to be put in the self-driving mode and then forget the fact that I need to be able to do certain levels of maneuvering that would end up with me disengaging. So in this particular case, disengagement is minimized. Or it's optimized actually, because then I no more need to disengage and then drive to the exit in order to be able to make this rest stop, I can effectively let the car do the navigation to that particular lane, do the exit, and then indeed I can take over in the last mile or perhaps the last few meters into that particular driving or that particular rest stop. So that's again a sort of quick outline of the interface there. A bit of information again for the driver to know exactly how many more kilometers they have left after 75.7 kilometers left. Projected time of arrival is 9:07, which is the estimated time of arrival, and I've got 49 more minutes to cover. Also below there, it's sort of a projecting how much power I would have left by the time I arrive at the airport, and it's saying that I would have about 336 kilometers range left, which was again from 460 kilometers that I had when I basically started the journey. So again, for folks to get an understanding of the UI, that's pretty much it. I hope that at least with this, you can effectively have a better grasp as to what exactly is going on here. It's actually very intuitive. So if you actually did a screenshot of this, you would pretty much be able to understand exactly what's on the screen without having me, talk through all the details. So that's pretty much about that. So this is a situation that I also like to bring to your attention. Okay, we are doing 108. This road is set for 120. This car in front of me is not moving fast, so I'm signaling. I'm actually telling the car to change lane, and then it did a change of lane, and it's maxing out the speed now so that I can be able to overtake it. This is one of the cases that also sometimes is not explainable. Maybe it's explainable actually. Actually, it's explainable if you have a lot of context with regards to the logic that has been built into the car. But it's not explainable, especially for me, for me engaged with the car this particular point in time, where the road is practically empty, and the car not, doing that change of lane in order to take that car. Now, the reason why I'm saying that it might be explainable is that that particular location could be an accident-prone area, right? And as an accident-prone area, what the chaps that Xpeng have done is put a policy guard on the car, right? So they put a policy guard on driving within that space. That basically limits the car from having to do some of these maneuvering. Now, this is basically, not factual because I do not have the exact fact, but I'm pretty much providing you the potential reasons why the car would not be maxed out that speed at that particular point in time. It could also be a perception problem, right? But I don't think it's a perception problem, but rather a policy guard. And I've seen this happen in several other places, especially when that particular area is an accident-prone area. Okay, there's normally an indication that that particular area is pretty much an accident-prone area. And so, folks should drive carefully and try to observe certain enhanced use of speed. So in those situations, it's normal for one to implement a policy guardrail, which is hard-coded rule that you effectively, put on the car. That in that particular location is just like geolocation behavior. In that particular location, try to limit the speed or try to avoid having to do, rampant change of lanes. And so that's one of the reasons that, I'm basically applying as the logic behind the car not doing that. It could also be the fact that maybe the optimization with regards to road engagement from a perception and planning point of view has a problem in some areas or in some places, and so as a result, the car effectively, forgets itself. Okay, so it gets into this state of just hallucinating. Okay, and then gets stuck or pretty much mesmerized, and so doesn't end up optimizing itself to the goal of indeed maximizing the use of the road. So again, just to try to provide some explanatory, verbiage for why the car might not necessarily behave as intended. Again, this is all subjective. This is not fact written down, but I'm pretty much perceiving that as part of the logic I'll perhaps implement. For certain situations, if I'm looking for maximum safety with regards to the fleet that I've got out there. Okay, so we just did another sort of change of major highways. So hopefully this basically takes us to the second part of the journey. I think we've got 3 cards. This is the second part of the journey, and hopefully we get to again see the car do what the car has to do in an optimal way for us to get to the destination pretty smooth. So this is one of those mesmerized states that I keep talking about as well. So the car is 94 kilometers per hour. The max speed is 120. But the car is not effectively overtaking the car in front of me. And that raises a lot of questions as to why, because I'm expecting that it will maximize speed on road or route in order to enable us to be able to arrive almost maybe even ahead of schedule. But now what is happening is sort of mesmerized behind this car, and it's not changing lanes. And of course, the lanes these are broken lanes, so it can overtake. So yes, the conditions for overtaking are definitely good. It can definitely do that overtake. At least now, it cannot overtake to the left because it's a continuous line, but it could have overtaken to the right. Now we've got a truck ahead of us, so it certainly cannot overtake as a sort of wait until it's got a clear road ahead of us. And hopefully with this, now it cannot again overtake because now it's got a continuous line all sides. So it has to wait until it's broken the line again. Or maybe I'm suspecting that because our next turn or next sort of exit is, just about 3.3. It is simply waiting it out until then to avoid having to quickly speed up. But this is the point I'm just trying to stress at. Sometimes it's not explainable as to the car's behavior. And it will be good maybe if there's an information dialogue that indicates exactly why the car is not overtaken. For instance, in this particular case now, we could have had a dialogue indicating that this is an accident-prone area. So we're being careful, right? And that basically gives the driver explainability as to why that particular condition or the car is in that particular behavior. Explainability is very important to provide context to the driver at all points in time. Sometimes there is explainability, sometimes there is that information that is overlaid, but now that information is missing and one cannot exactly be able to tell. Okay, it could also be that maybe the road programming in the data point in the map as to what exactly should be the speed limit on the road are not exactly matching, right? But then that also raises concern because the car's camera system or the vision system should be able to pick the prevailing current speed limit on the road and then use that to set exactly what the car should operate at. So that means that with that, it should be able to override any stale data or stale data point that's in the map system. Because a couple of data points that are all feeding into the car's planning. One is data point coming from the the mapping information, which includes the roads it can apply on, the roads that are navigation guide, all these what you call the high definition mapped roads, speed limit on that particular road, where the traffic, where the cameras sort of fixed and all that. All that is data point that is being served by a third party company. So the level of or the quality of that data also informs the car's capability to navigate smoothly on the road. But the point I'm just trying to stress is that kind of the technique that Xpeng has taken is to use the camera or the vision system to be able to the actual speed on the road, right? And then use that pretty much to set the car's speed. So unless of course that's that capability is no more working or available, and one would basically be asking the question as to why exactly is the car limiting the speed currently to something that makes it uncomfortable to fly. But again, this is all part of the speculative, engineering or the speculative analysis of the engineering that's behind the current operation or the car's current behavior. Hopefully, if there is additional data point that is highlighted, information snippets that are thrown on the screen, so the driver gets a better clarification as to why the car is behaving that way, that would definitely add value to the driver's point, the driver's experience, and then allow the driver maybe to take the right or to take the necessary actions that they think fits their best interest. So again, that's maybe a feedback that should go back to the Xpeng team. And I hope that they're watching these videos and being able to take some of these hints. If not, I'm going to definitely drop a blog and then highlight some of these points so that they can find ways to act on it. All right, so the next stretch is going to take us about 49, it's about 50 kilo. And that basically, means that by the time, well, we've got 1 more minute added to our projected time, or maybe 1 more minute shaved off our projected time. I'm not too sure what it was the last time. But it looks like we're good. The road is practically empty. It was a good time to sort of get out of home and head out to the airport. My flight is at midnight, so it's sort of I've got some time to sort of be able to make the airport and then of course go through clearing and arrive on my gate. So that's pretty okay. The good thing again is that the road is practically empty. So it's not a busy road. And if you look at the projected path altogether, it's all green, which is a good sign that there's no traffic hotspots on the road. So that's a good thing. Okay, so I see that overtaking style is disabled. So maybe that was the problem altogether. So I'm going to switch to standard and see if the car is reverting back to. So again, maybe that was all my fault. That was all my fault. I had changed the overtaking style to disabled, which was pretty much like the car only overtakes or changes lane for the purposes of being able to, get in or out of specific highways. The time I was trying to, get folks to familiarize them with the settings for the overtaking style, I might have punched one more over the by hands control for flipping between standard and conservative, and maybe that was the reason. So even though, yeah, that might have been the reason, there are also cases where the car pretty much gets into that mesmerized state, and hopefully we will see that experience pretty soon. So in any case, apologies, that was my mistake. So again, folks can simply experience the car maxing out at full speed, and then of course being able to overtake when it has to overtake at any point in time. So one of the reasons that I think I've not highlighted a lot with regards to the experience, and I think I started talking about that, is that the experience I'm having with XOS 5.5 with this car might not necessarily be the same experience someone is going to have, even with another SUV like the G9 from Xpeng as well. And the reason I say so is that the number of data points that have to be used to actuate this car in the self-driving mode are actually higher than other cars. Some of the other G9s don't have active suspension, and active suspension data points also impact on the car's ability to manage its dynamics or its road dynamics. So once more, I keep emphasizing that the experience I get from the car as a driver with the experience I've got driving might not necessarily be the same as even someone else that is also having a similar car, even with active suspension, but with maybe less driving experience than I do. And that even makes it, if there's even a complex view to that, where the car does not have active suspension. So the number of data points it's using for driving is quite different from mine. It's another ball game altogether. So there's so many data points to look at when you're trying to judge the level experience that the driver would have, even for the same type of SUV, because there are so many other little details that come to play. Some of the cars do not necessarily use the NVIDIA chipset. So again, the experience of those cars using alternate sort of chipset would also be different. And so all these points are quite important to understand, when you like to, judge a car's self-driving capability, especially the self-driving software capability coming from the car manufacturer, is such that it's not going to be applied same way for every one of its fleet. And so you need to be sort of circumspect of that, that point of view in order for you to be able to provide the much more better objective assessment of the of a self-driving capability from a particular OEM. So I thought I'd just highlight that because in most cases we end up trying to compare apples to oranges, And that's not exactly going to be a fair comparison, right? Because maybe some of the G9 experience is not that G9 might not be performance G9. It might just be the standard G9. It might just be maybe a rear wheel drive or maybe a front wheel drive. All those play an important part to understand exactly how the software is able to manage the driving dynamics. So hopefully, that's again something that folks can note. So if someone is telling you about their self-driving experience with their car, and you perhaps have the same car but are not experiencing what they are talking about, maybe you might want to ask, what exactly are the specs with regards to the car, so that you could get a better basis to pretty much be able to to judge whether indeed your experience is worse off, or your experience is because of certain other conditions that the car needs to factor into play before being able to actually turn around. So again, I thought I'd chip in that, so folks can get another viewpoint to the whole conversation around the experience with the self-driving capability of So we're back to the mesmerized state that I spoke about before, where the car pretty much is, caught up on the lane. All the conditions to overtake exist, but it doesn't max out, and we're seeing that exactly over here. It could have overtaken, but it's not. It's following this car, and again, it's pretty much a one, between 108 and 110. Yet we could have basically been able to overtake this car ahead of us by changing lane to 120. I hope it does that soon. But again, just to bring your attention to what I spoke about before, even though that I had this setting disabled, therefore we had explanation for that. I know that I've observed this trend multiple times where the car gets stuck on a particular lane and does not max out or take into consideration all the conditions on the road to effectively be able to max out its speed limit. So again, that's just part of the observation that I've seen. It is not all the time, but you see this happening quite often, which indicates that either there is an inbuilt policy guardrail, or maybe it's just a perception planning problem that still needs work with regards to more training data. So again, I just thought I should, provide that to sort of support my earlier, talk about the car getting mesmerized or hallucinating, as though it's maximizing the use of the speed, but indeed it's not. So what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to signal for it to change lane, and then we could overtake this car ahead of us. Well, work done there is 0, but well, that's a one. It's able to quickly change lane to overtake the car in front of us. I hope that now it's hooking up. So with that, it will be able to max out and then of course plan to overtake the car in front of us. Well, now the car in front of us is moving at pretty much the road limit, the road speed limit. So with that, certainly there's not going to be any chance to overtake. which is okay, right? If he's moving, he's basically maxing out the speed limit on the road, then technically there's no need for us to sort of overtake them. But once he drops to a low speed, we hope that at least we observe that, and then of course take advantage of the empty road to overtake it. Now, also, I could, showcase how the setup of, trying to input the percentage overage over the speed limit that, allows the car to sort of go over the speed limit. So here I'm going to just set to go 10%. So that's max. And with that now, the car can pretty much hit 130, which means that we technically have the capability now, even if the car ahead of us is, is moving at 120, is at 120 speed limit, 120 kilometers per hour, we should be able to still be, be able to overtake it, because now we can go up to 130. So now we're at 120. And so if you observe for a while, you can see that it's beginning to creep up, and gradually will creep up to 130. There is a car that is sort of behind us. Let me see if I can show. So that there's that car behind us. So it's taking into consideration that car in planning its next overtake. So if we have enough distance between us and that car, we should basically be able to overtake this car and max out the 130. So I had to signal there manually to overtake it. It's able to now, max out that, that 130. And we can now use that to overtake this car. All right, I'm going to drop it back because I think I might have seen a couple of speed cameras on the road. So I just want to be, really on the safe side. And we projected pretty okay as well. So I don't think there is a need to sort of max out that, speed limit plus that 10%. But we've been able to overtake that car, right? So with that, I think I can set it back to 0% overage, and that should be fine. I mean, the road is pretty clear today, and it looks almost like folks are on vacation or still on vacation. And this particular road itself is one that I think is not very busy. So it explains why it is quite an empty road. And as a result, you're not actually seeing the car challenged, right? I hopefully would have a scenario that challenges the car coming up pretty soon. So hopefully you guys can, stay engaged. Drop me a couple of notes in the comment section. Let's exchange ideas. Anything we can talk about, regarding, the technology. That will be great. And looking forward to, having some couple of dialogues with you guys. Hopefully one of these days I might do a live show where I could stream directly to YouTube and get folks to actually experience the journey whilst I'm actually on the journey itself. But anyway, if I do, get a lot of you subscribing to the channel, liking the video, sharing the video, growing the channel, And then of course that basically will motivate me to also improve the quality of the channel, because I know that the quality can be improved. It takes quite a lot of time, and I do give a lot of props to the folks that produce some of those fantastic videos on YouTube. I wish I was having that time and also the investment to pretty much be able to do that. Hopefully, I will get there. So do please pardon me with the quality of videos not being up par with some of those other videos. Hopefully, one day, one day soon, I will get the resources and time to be able to provide you that quality kind of stream, so you guys can also be able to sort of appreciate, a couple of what the content that is going to be shared on YouTube. I already appreciate a lot of you. Thank you guys for the support. There's been quite a good uptick with engagement. Certainly look forward to seeing more engagement as I share these videos. And you are free to also, to share these videos with others, so that we could grow the channel, grow the family, discuss the technology. The technology is basically here to stay, and it's going to be pervasive across, across the globe, because it essentially it's optimizing the way cars are engineered, is removing a lot of the plunk, and then the legacy that was actually more expensive to include in cars previously. So I think this is a good thing if indeed it helps to improve road safety, and also enables folks to also improve the quality of the driving experience. I think that's all good, right? So the technology is here to stay. We can definitely discuss it. We can discuss the legal ramifications, how how the legal and regulatory frameworks for roads needs to change, how driver testing needs to change, and also maybe, in fact, how commute altogether needs to change. It's all stuff we can discuss on the channel, bounce of ideas with each other, and effectively learn as we also, enjoy the technology as well. So hopefully, you guys would certainly keep the channel engaged, keep me engaged. Please support and motivate me to keep sharing more, and then hopefully we can learn together and share the experience of the technology together. All right, so we are just about 10 km to the airport. If you do watch the skyline, you already see airplanes sort of in the sky. It shows that we're pretty near the airport. So hopefully we should be arriving quite on time, in time, at least to be able to do our check-in process. And all things being good, we'll hopefully be able to upload this video pretty soon. Maybe actually on the flight or in my next disembarkment, I might upload the video so that it's not too stale, and keep you guys engaged with new content. Time check, it's about 4 minutes to 9 o'clock. We are pretty much set to arrive at 9:13, 9:14. That's our ETA. We have maxed out the speed on the road at 120 on a 120 kilometer per hour road. The speed limit just changed to 100 km, so the car pretty much dropped the speed also to match that speed limit. I think it's because we are nearing a neighborhood, so as a result, you can actually see the highway frame guards. So hopefully we will clear this and be back up in order to sort of be to maximize the speed of the car as well. we will be at least at this intersection be changing. I think this is our last leg, which takes us into the airport itself. Maybe that's raising the speed actually got dropped to 100 because this a Y junction, a Y intersection. So we are exiting that section of the highway, entering a new section. This section is effectively the airport zone. We are actually entering the airport toll gate, and you can see the toll gate ahead of you. The car would be exiting NGP mode in countdown to, yeah, and now it's in LCC mode. It effectively is not able to, find any path, but hopefully it will, fly well. Since I'm using electronic tool, I will navigate to the electronics tool section in order to use the electronic gate. So that's it. I will engage the system anytime after past this camera section. Go. Activate it. It's in LCC mode. Wait for it to hear the chime, and then we will be in NGP mode. Sometimes it takes quite a bit of time for NGP to kick in, and that's because of the fact that the actual capability is being run off the data centers at Xpeng's facility. So connectivity, getting that connectivity is an important part to having NGP activate. Hopefully in the future, offline capability of NGP running directly on the car without the need for the connected link to the data centers would perhaps happen. I doubt it though, but hopefully there could be an improvement that would be seen in future fleets. Maybe this fleet might not necessarily be able to accommodate that capability, although I doubt that strongly. But maybe it is again a technical capability, and as a result, the workaround is to make sure that the connectivity with the data centers augments the the ability to have the full self-driving safety engaged. So yeah, so that's that. We are now in NGP mode, pretty much in airport territory now. The car is managing its speed to maintain the the expected speed limit within the airport area, which is 80 kilometers per hour. And you can see almost every other car, except a few, driving quite to the beat of the speed limit. There was a close shave over there. Almost had a car run into me there. Whilst I was changing lane, the other car was also trying to change lane, and the driver might have not been paying attention. I think I need to be going to P3 or P2. So we need to sort of make sure that we are on the right lane. Okay, I think it's P3. Not P2, it's actually P3. We need to go to. And I hope I can basically be able to select that. It's not giving me any indication to be able to select the parking area. An indication of that could have helped to sort of see if the car actually navigate itself successfully to that area. Well, it is changing lane. It seems like it does know where exactly we are headed to. We need to be going to P3, and I do not have the chance to select P3, and P3 is thereabout. So do that manually. Also do that. I'm manually signaling for the car to change lane. Usually there's always an announcement to sort of pick the parking area. I don't know why that it is not pretty much providing that announcement now. But anyway, the car is not able to, so I have to take over manually. Given that we already P3 parking area, I think we're pretty good. And so that was it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. This is the experience of the drive to the airport compared to the previous drive, and again compared to the previous XOS versions. It was pretty much okay. There wasn't much by way of difference compared to the other versions of XOS, given that the road was practically empty. There wasn't any major challenge, and again, given it's a highway drive, it's almost like you're seeing the same old versions pretty much being played. I'm hoping that we would have more challenge, especially maybe on my return back, and be able to see exactly how the car behaves as well. So without much more to say and without much more to show, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and then of course please like and share the video. And I hope to talk to you and share with you guys more drive videos in the future. Thank you very much. Peace.